Go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone. I'm Joe Valencia. I would give you a card, but my old card still say Finance Director or Finance Manager on, but I'll be happy to give you a card anyway because the phone number is still the same. My direct extension though is 124. And in the room we have Dottie McKinney, who's the purchasing manager. And we have John Tertali in the back, who's the procurement contract specialist, like myself. The RFP that we are talking about today is 2016-013, which is for building materials, supplies, and tools. And I'm guessing that everyone here is a supplier of some sort. Is that correct? What I wanted to do was kind of take you through the RFP itself in our Ion Wave system, which is our online e-procurement system. Has everyone registered as a vendor in our system? Okay, if you have not, then I encourage you to do that. That's the only way you're going to get the documents, is by registering. Okay. So if we go to the e-procurement system, does anyone have questions before I get started? Concerns, anything like that?
I have a lot of questions.
Oh, yes.
First off, it was asking for a catalog on all of the stuff that we were going to provide. What type of a catalog are you guys looking for?
A catalog of the products and services that you will be providing per the request on the request for proposal. What types of products are you thinking about, or what do you provide?
Well, we can do pretty much everything, all the building materials, all the tools and stuff like that. The only problem is there's not really a catalog like on your lumber and your commodity products, because we do get them from different vendors and stuff like that.
Do you have price lists that you go by?
Yeah.
That would work. And if you notice the cost tab, I kind of picked a market basket. I didn't pick every item that there is available.
Okay. And then that was another question I had, like on the commodity products, your lumber, your drywall, and stuff like that. Prices on that stuff change pretty frequently. So how would we go about, giving you a price on stuff like that?
That would be based on the current pricing. And
so current market.
Give a percentage on the current pricing, on the current, whatever your current pricing is. It's a percentage of that.
Okay.
So as your price sheets change for those kinds of commodities, if you would send updated prices or price lists, send it to me, Dottie@ces.org, and what I do is I'll review it, approve it, and then upload it into your procurement file so that the business office has access to current information for price checking.
Okay.
Okay. That will help a lot.
Okay, that will work. Now, like on our hardware and stuff like that, because we are a Do It Best member, would our Express catalog online work?
Yeah. Yes, that'll work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and who am I talking to on the phone?
This is Lyle from BTU Building Materials.
Okay.
And then one question my boss had is how the billing works, as far as us charging you guys, and then how often would we get paid as the invoices come in?
Okay, yeah, I'll cover that later on as we go through.
Okay. Alrighty. Then go ahead, I guess.
Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. If you log into our ces.org and go over to the procurement section, scroll down to the e-procurement tab, okay? And if you are already registered, you'll have a username and password already.
Yeah, I am. I'm already registered. So.
Okay.
I'm actually not at my computer right now. I'm in a little office, so I don't get bugged with customers.
Oh, okay. Do you want to log in and you can try and follow us?
I can try.
Okay. Let me know when you're there.
I don't know if it'll let me on this computer or not, but let me see.
Okay.
So you log in yourself or
That's me.
I want to log in as a user so they'll see what.
Yeah, they'll see what, you'll see what they see instead.
Okay.
You got a username just for that. Not one of us can sign in on ours.
You want to come and sign in, John? I don't have a username.
You gotta log off. So. Oh, that's the right one.
My computer's a little slow, but I'm getting there.
Okay.
See if that works. Right, you're in. If you want to make this bigger, just hit the control on the plus. It'll make it bigger on the left. See your phone about?
No.
Okay, which tab do we go to?
It's 201613.
Okay.
Now, if you go over to the attachments, this will
The
bring up
response attachment, just the attachments?
the attachments, yes.
Okay,
This will bring up all the documents that are required
okay,
for submittal. The first one, item number 1, is a tutorial. This is just a quick tutorial on Ion Wave and how to maneuver it, how to go from screen to screen and so forth.
okay.
If you want, we can go through that. If not, you can do that on your own.
Yeah, that one I've already kind of went through on that.
Okay. Number 2 is the addendum. Now this document needs to be signed, okay?
Okay,
And basically this is saying I got the addendum, I read it, I'm complying. So you need to fill this out, scan it, and attach it to tab 4.
okay,
And that'll be the case with any addendum that I send out, okay? There'll always be a
Okay.
confirmation cover sheet that goes with it,
okay.
okay?
And then when do you want me to send that one back right away, or
No, this will be submitted with your,
with the bid packet?
your proposal,
Okay.
okay?
And then the next one?
The next one is the actual instructions, item number 3. And this is actually, they're pretty generic instructions. This is what's kind of boilerplate for all the RFPs that we do. Again, you must, I can't emphasize the importance of reading through everything.
Okay.
And making sure you do comply with some of the questions that are asked, not only in this document, other documents, and some of the mandatory forms. We'll go through those in a bit.
Okay.
And this basically is an outline of the tabs that are attached to the technical proposal, the mandatory forms that are required to be signed and scanned and uploaded back into the system.
Okay.
Joe, if I may make a comment?
Sure.
The RFP is laid out with tabs 1 through 6. So as you're working on your documents, you might just want to set up a folder on your desktop and make a subfolder for each tab. So when you're working on the documents that go in tab 1, as you complete them, you can put them in tab 1. What we prefer, what's easiest for the evaluation committee is they're looking at your documents, is if the documents, the 3 documents or the documents that go in tab 1, you PDF them as one file and upload it in tab 1 as one file. We've had situations where people have uploaded each single page, and by the end of the RFP, it's very difficult for the evaluation committee to sit and click and open every single page in the RFP. So if you have that capability, I highly recommend that the documents in each tab that you're working on, when you submit them, be a single PDF file.
Okay.
Okay.
Except for tab 6, those are for your cost sheets. Those,
right.
You don't want to PDF your cost sheets.
No.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
And also your, because we do ask for financials. If these are confidential, probably mark them as such, and those will not be uploaded. Those will be hard copy when you submit your proposal. Okay.
And
Go
sorry.
ahead.
One of the things that I would also recommend with your financials is that if you drop them off or if you mail them to us, include a self-addressed stamped envelope, and after the award, we will mail your financials back to you. That way, you're assured that they've been kept confidential and we haven't, left them laying around anywhere. So.
All right.
In addition to some of the required forms and so forth, it talks about the evaluation factors and how the evaluation will be done, how the cost evaluation will be done also, and also the points that are assigned to the different required forms in the RFP. This is a point structure. Now, if you notice, for safety, I didn't award any points for safety. And the reason I did that was, in thinking about this, you're providing products for your maintenance crews at the schools or villages or counties that are going to use. They're going to come in and either purchase, a small amount of the product or a bag of cement here and there, whatever the case is. And either they'll pick it up at your retail location or you will deliver it. The safety requirement that we have in the RFP is mostly for people that are providing a service, like a construction service of some type. Okay, we want to know your safety record. That's why I didn't award points for this, because I didn't feel like that was, pertinent to this RFP, being the fact that you're delivering product and you're supplying product and not a service.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
But if you do notice, there are other points. There's 5 points for background check. Okay? Now, if you are going to enter a school or school property, your driver or whoever is delivering, must have a background check.
Okay.
And that's why that's in there.
So if you don't have a process in place right now for the RFP, tell us what process you would implement so that we know that you're aware of it, and if it does come up, that you are in compliance.
Yes, and that's detailed in the instructions also. Now, part of the RFP that when I put it together, I wanted to not only warranty and inventory what you stock, but also if there would be any training, user training, and you notice I awarded 50 points to that. And that could be, it could be webinars that you offer for your products, it could be in-store type trainings that you offer. And what I was thinking when I did this was, you go to some of these big box retailers and sometimes they offer small classes on a Saturday morning for tile laying or brick laying or whatever it is. Sometimes because we are targeting this for maintenance crews, they may need this kind of training. So if you could be as detailed as possible when you don't just say, yeah, we provide training, but tell us what kind of training, okay?
Okay.
And the technical proposal is worth 600 points.
Okay.
The cost proposal is going to be worth 400 points. Now, when we get to the tab with the cost, what I did was I just picked a market basket of items, and I may have to do an addendum on that depending on commodities. For example, I noticed I didn't include any electrical commodities. Well, I may do an addendum, I will do an addendum to change that form to include electrical, and I'll pick a market basket of electrical items also.
Okay.
But this is where you will fill out your cost, and if it's a pricing listing, what I'm after is a percentage of discount from your pricing, whether it's catalog, whether it's price list. That's what I'm after. And in the case where the pricing does fluctuate, like Dottie mentioned, all you have to do is let us know that this pricing is changing, and we'll make arrangements for that to get it to our MSRs. And I'll talk a little bit about the MSRs in a little bit.
Okay.
So you guys are new to the CES RFP process. Is this the first time you've responded? Okay.
No,
Pardon?
I think it will be.
Okay.
In letter L, we have text buyer or Texas extension. What this is basically is we have an agreement with Texas, the Region 16, where if the vendor wants to do business in Texas in that region, by mutual agreement, they can extend this contract into Texas.
Okay.
Okay?
You can do the whole state. As I said, Region 16, what region is 16? Because then Region 19 is El Paso, right?
Amarillo, yeah.
Okay.
But this will cover the whole state, like John said.
Yeah, just like the Region 19 ones, they'll cover the whole state. Okay.
And as of this time, this is the only state that we have an agreement with to take our contracts into.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it on the instructions. Is there any questions so far?
No, so far we should be good.
Okay.
Does everybody in here understand preference? You all have a preference certificate?
What was that?
Certificate.
A in-state preference certificate?
Uh-huh.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't, New Mexico is a preference state. What that means is we have a law that affords a percent of either dollars or points added to a bid or an RFP to give you an advantage over someone from out of state that you might be competing with. And
okay.
The New Mexico preference for businesses and contractors is 5%. And if you're a veteran, depending on the volume of work that you've done in the state the previous year, there is a 7%, 8%, all the way up to a 10% preference.
Okay.
There's a taxation and revenue issues the certificates. If you are interested, you can go online and download the application. It requires a signature by your auditor or CPA. And I don't know if you could get it in time for this solicitation, but if you are finding that you are responding to solicitations, that I would highly recommend that you do that. So there's a form in there that if you are a veteran and you have a preference certificate, it's kind of a certification, if you will. You're signing that the information you're providing is true and accurate, because we can't check it because your certificate is issued based on your reported income to tax and rev for your gross receipts tax, your compensation tax, and obviously that's not public information. So if that form doesn't apply, just put NA, not applicable. That's all you have to do. Okay? If you do have a preference certificate, you need to make sure you scan it and upload it into your response so that you get that preference.
We're still getting the old preference certificates from the state. So if you have an old preference certificate with a 5-digit number, and then the third digit's either a R or a C out of the 5 digits, then that's no longer applicable.
Yeah, those
ones
were
issued from state purchasing.
Yeah, the ones issued from state purchasing are no longer valid.
I got a couple of open ones.
Did you?
Yeah.
So that's what preference is about, but it's supposed to be a good thing for New Mexico businesses. But unfortunately, what happens, particularly with our construction contractors, is when they go across state lines to bid on projects, they call it reciprocity. So they add 5% to their bid dollars. And so it makes it really tough for them to get work out of state to compete.
Okay.
Now we'll go on to item number 4. And these are some of the mandatory forms that are required for submission. Form A, see if it comes up.
That one's just going to be for our region that we're going to supply to, correct?
Well, this will be for, yeah, you get to choose the regions that you want.
Okay.
Form A is a listing of all the regions that in New Mexico, basically, because CES is statewide. So you have the opportunity to do the whole state, or you can select the regions that you are willing to do business in. Now, keep in mind that in part of the solicitation, what I asked for was delivery and how you'll make deliveries, outside of a certain distance.
Right. I had a question about that.
Yeah.
What do we do? Do we, because say from Las Vegas to Clayton, New Mexico is about 150 miles. Do we, on our bid proposal, do we add in the freight on that?
Yes, that would be part of your cost.
Okay. Okay. That was one question that I had.
Okay. So this form is one of the mandatory forms that's required to be filled out, and you basically just check the boxes.
Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Form B is another mandatory form. This one basically, all it is the acceptance of the offer. Okay. This must be filled out, and these are fillable areas here. It must be signed, and it must be notarized.
Okay.
Okay. Once that's done, scan it and upload it into the tab with the other documents that are required. Okay.
Okay.
No, I think, this is the contract award? I think did you use Form C, Joe?
I used the forms that were part of that
Okay.
overall.
Form C is the one that gets notarized.
This one doesn't?
No, that's the one that we sign
Okay.
if we're going to award you a contract, and we put our seal on it, and Rebecca prepares an award letter that goes with that.
So they just need to fill it out then?
They just need to fill it out.
Just the type
Yeah.
section? Okay.
But this is the one that requires a notary.
Yeah.
And it
This,
says that on the form on the bottom there.
Mhm.
And sometimes, usually the notary will have two different types of stamps. They'll have the embossment or the stamp. Have them use the stamp if you can, because it'll come across in the scan. If all they have is the emboss, they can take a pencil and rub over it just so that it shows up in the scan.
Okay.
this one here is just information for you. I do encourage you to read it. Basically, it lists the management structure of CES.
Okay.
And if there are any conflicts, if you know any of these folks, you have to disclose that. Okay? And this is the form that you'll be signing if there are any conflicts. And this talks about what it is, and here's the area where you fill out. Okay? I do encourage you to read these forms. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, this form is actually called a campaign disclosure form. And so the list of the CES officials, if you will, our governing body, they're really, none of them are elected. But if they were and you contributed to their campaign and it was over $200, or a relative, such as your parents or a sibling, had contributed to a campaign, that over $200, that would have to be disclosed. And this is state law. And what's interesting about it is to my knowledge, there is no campaign disclosure form police. And I've often found it very interesting that people, when they're looking, to take a bid away from somebody, that's not one of the things that they would look at. because, you know, we have a nasty habit in our state of school boards and governing bodies overly influencing the outcome of procurements. Oftentimes they want to sit on the evaluation committee and then walk in the boardroom or the commissioners' chambers and vote to approve the contract. And so the impetus of this is to try to make it more open and disclose if you do have any conflict, or as Joe calls it, it would be a conflict if you had contributed to a campaign of somebody on our governing body.
Right. And Dottie, you know, was talking about the school boards and so forth. We do follow the state procurement code, and that's where this is coming from. A lot of the documents that you will be reading and answering to are per the state procurement code. Okay.
Okay.
Those are the required documents in this tab 1. Now we'll go to item number 5, which is tab 2. Again, this is just a one-page summary. We want to know what your business is, basically. This is, you know, the more detail you can provide for us, the better. This will help in the evaluation process. The evaluators get to read this and see what your business model is like, what products you provide, how long you've been in business, what your customer base is, and so forth. So this is the area where you get to toot your horn and shine, okay? And I would encourage you to be as, I wouldn't say conceited, but toot your horn.
That's a good word.
Tell them this is who we are, you know.
Okay.
This is your chance to sell yourself, okay?
Like a one commercial.
Right. Next, we'll go to item number 6, which are the general terms and conditions. The first one is just information and general terms and conditions, and this is boilerplate. We use these terms and conditions for all our RFPs, okay? I encourage you to read them. There's a few pages to read. Some of them are definitions, some of them are actual terms and conditions. But it's quite lengthy, so I do encourage you to read it. It's 27 pages long. Okay.
It will help explain our business model, which she'll touch on later, but how orders are processed, what happens if something goes wrong. So as you read through this, you may have, sometimes businesses will want their legal to review it, and when that happens, they generally will have exceptions to the terms and conditions, which we will have to work through if you're on the tentative award list. Sometimes attorneys ask us to change things that we cannot change because, as Joe said, we do everything by the procurement code, but not just the procurement code. We follow all the state laws and requirements for, certificate of insurance, thresholds, etc. So you may have someone that wants to change something, but just be aware that it may very well be something that we cannot change. And so then that would be up to you whether you could live with it or not and move forward with a contract.
Okay.
Okay, so those are the terms and conditions. I do encourage you to read them. If you have any questions on anything, and especially the terms and conditions, please give one of us a call. Okay?
Okay.
Form E is a mandatory form. And this basically states that you accept the terms and conditions as stated. Okay? As Dottie mentioned, if you do have exceptions, you do have the opportunity to list those exceptions.
So actually, I would recommend that any questions you have, to submit them in writing to Joe so that he can answer them in writing and distribute them back out to everybody, because you may ask a question that's key that everybody else needs to know. So it's best to I don't know what your deadline is on your schedule of events for written questions. Did you set a deadline to submit?
Yeah, I
written
did.
questions?
It's a week before the
due date.
due date.
Okay.
Okay.
But there are no silly questions, so
No, there aren't any silly questions.
just shoot an email with the questions in it, and that way it'll help everybody else, because they may be wondering the same thing.
Number 3 is mandatory form also. This covers the federal terms and conditions because this is a indefinite quantity solicitation, and because there are sometimes federal monies involved with some of the school districts, some of the cities and counties, we have to include federal terms and conditions as part of this. Okay. So again, please read through this document. There is an area that you need to fill out. And again, these are fillable forms. Fill them out, scan them, and upload them back in. Okay, this is a mandatory form.
Some of those sections may not apply, and if they don't, you just put NA and move on to the next section of the federal terms. Or if you prefer to not, do business with someone that might have federal dollars flowing down, you can just make a note of that you are not going to work with federal funds.
Okay.
You have that option.
Right, and the next required form is just the acceptance of the federal terms and conditions. Okay.
And you can't write exceptions to the federal terms and conditions.
Number 5 is information only. This talks about the state preference that Dottie mentioned earlier. And the veterans preference also, I believe. Or is it the next one? So if you do qualify for it, or you do want to take advantage of the preference, like Dottie mentioned, you need to go to Tax and Rev and get all the documents.
Okay.
This is non-mandatory. I believe this is a veteran's preference. Yeah, this is the veteran's preference, Form K. And again, it's a fillable form. You must attach your certificate along with these forms.
Okay.
Any questions so far? No?
Not so far.
Okay. We'll move on to tab number 4. These are the qualifications. This document's in Word format to allow you the opportunity to answer the questions that are being asked. Again, this will have to be scanned and uploaded. Pick the wrong one. Yeah. Now this one, I believe they can either save as Word or a PDF. It's up to them. I would prefer a PDF.
Yeah, after it's all filled in and you're
Right.
sure all your answers are as they should be, then you can PDF it for the submission.
Okay.
Okay. And this has all the paragraphs, which I don't believe that the one in
No.
Just the format.
Yeah, the other thing I would recommend as you're working through this is to put your answers in a color, something that's easy to read.
Or even like,
Yeah, not a light color, but something, and even bold it. Because here again, the evaluation committee, when they open this tab and they start to read through it, it will be easier for them to scan it, read it, if your answers are more visible.
Okay.
yeah, or you can underline it.
And underline, yeah.
Just make it so we can see what your responses are. And this goes through your organization. Some of the, what we talked about earlier, some of the categories, the safety, the insurance and all that's in here. And gives you the opportunity to respond to those questions, okay?
Okay.
So in your instructions, he's broken down the technical, what points are assigned to what documents, etc. And there are points associated with this form. So you want to make sure you don't skip a question.
Okay.
Item number 8, this is the scope of what this RFP is all about. What we're after is, we're trying to provide materials and supplies and tools for your everyday maintenance crews that are out there repairing things at the school, at the cities and counties, wherever the case is. They may buy large quantities, they may buy small quantities, but it's basically giving them the materials that they need to do their jobs. And that's what this solicitation is for, basically. It's all building materials, tools, supplies, to meet, construction industry building standards. Some of the things we ask, we require is a return policy. Describe it in your documents. What is your return policy? That sort of stuff. The warranty. You can either have a retail outlet or both, retail outlet or electronic catalog, where they can go online and order. You need to tell us how that process will work. If it's going to be an online online buying, how are you going to set up the customers? How will you do the reporting, and so forth? Okay.
Okay.
Also, in your retail outlet, do you have a pro desk that they go to? Is there certain sales reps that are assigned to certain areas or whatever the case is? Just tell us how you will do this business, okay?
Okay.
It talks about the warranty on the parts. The trainings that are offered, and then this could cover anything, like I mentioned earlier. It could be, how to break down, how to store something maybe that they bought that has a shelf life or something.
Okay.
And then tools, type of tools that we're looking for, hand tools, a variety of hand tools, saws, wrenches, anything that they might need. Electrician, a plumber, your everyday maintenance guy, groundskeeper, shovels and all that kind of stuff. That's what this is asking. And in the tab for cost, I didn't list all of the tools that are available, but it's just a market basket just to get an idea of what the pricing is so we can evaluate you. Okay?
Okay.
Along with the tools, tell us about, the warranty, exchange, and repair services that you offer.
Okay.
Okay? Any questions on this?
Not on that one. That one's pretty straightforward.
Okay. No. That one. We'll move on to item number 9. These are some more required forms. Form F is an interesting form, and I'll explain that. Basically, this with CES, we want you to offer our customers the best pricing available there is. Okay. What Form F is asking is if you're going to offer your goods and services that you have under contract with us outside of the contract, that pricing be at least 2% higher than they would get using CES. Okay, that is the support for CES pricing, and basically we want them to use the CES contract. What that turns out to be, because there is a 1% administrative fee embedded into the cost that you will be submitting, it really is only a 1% increase, or what you would have to provide outside the contract. Now, we hope that you don't do that. We hope that you lead with the CES contract. But this is, you know, our way of knowing that you're guaranteeing that you'll be offering and leading with the CES contract. Okay?
Right. Okay.
The next one is Form G. And this is just a questionnaire of, you know, tell us about your business, products and pricing, you know, shipping, and so forth.
Okay.
Contact information, you know, who will be responsible for the contract, administering the contract, your accounts payable folks, and so forth. So speaking of accounts payable, the CES process is very simple. The products and services that you offer, you will be providing the school or customer, whatever that may be, if it's village, city, county, you give them the quote, or they will use your catalog to get the pricing. That quote or that pricing must include a 1% administrative fee. Okay?
Okay.
Now, when the school or entity accepts your quote, they will issue a purchase order to CES. At that point, CES will verify the pricing. The MSRs in the business office, and they're called member service representatives. We call them MSRs for short. They will verify the pricing on the contract. And after verifying the pricing, if everything's good, they will issue the CES purchase order to you. Okay. Now, in that purchase order, they will deduct the 1% administrative fee. Okay.
Okay.
When you invoice after the goods are delivered and they're accepted by the entity, you will invoice CES. And you will invoice CES the amount of the purchase order, unless there are back orders or whatever the case is. Now, if there are back orders and you can't deliver all the goods at you know, when they were ordered or when they were shipped, please let the entity know. It's up to them to accept the partial or not. So if you work with them ahead of time, it may make it easier. They can pay for partials, but like I said, make sure you do talk to them and explain to them if there's a delay in copper piping or whatever the case is. You know, let them know that it'll be partial. And at the same time, work with your MSR. Depending on who the entity is, you will be probably working with any one of them. I encourage you to give them a call if you're doing this for the first time, because they will walk you through the process. Okay. We have a new one up at UMSR now that will be in charge of A through K, I believe. His name is Joseph Gutierrez.
Okay.
And then we have Leslie Neely, who does the J through P. And these are school districts, okay? Kelly Basham does all of the cities and counties. And then we have Eva Gonzalez, who does charter schools, and she'll do, for the most part, charter schools, and she takes care of some of the other ancillary things that we do. And then there's Pam Reed, who takes care of the remaining of the alphabet and some of the higher ed. Eva will take care of some of the higher ed also.
Okay.
These ladies will walk you through the process when you do make your first sale. So I encourage you to give them a call. And it's 344-5470, and just ask for the business office. Okay? Lori O'Rourke is the member service coordinator supervisor. If you can't reach any of the MSRs, you can always reach Lori or Robin or even myself. I was finance manager, so I know. Okay?
And then I have a question.
Yes.
When we bill you guys, how quick would we get our money from you guys?
The schools have, their agreement is net 30 days, okay?
Okay.
So we don't pay until we receive the funds from the school. So you will have to be able to carry the receivable for a minimum of 45 days. Now, it doesn't always take 45 days, but it could take 45 days. Now, if there are issues with the acceptance of the order, it could take even longer than that. And if that comes about, give the MSR a call. They will get in touch with the school or the city and county and find out what's going on and why it hasn't been paid. But we do not encourage you at all to do the collections direct. Go through your MSR, please. They have a good rapport with these people, and they can generally get answers quickly.
Do you have an average payment term to your vendors?
Well, like I said, the minimum is 45 days. Generally, it depends on the school, okay? Some of these schools have to get approval from their boards. Okay, maybe it's the board president that signs the check. So those may take a while. Those are some of the smaller school districts. Generally, they turn them around in 10 days, and you'll get your check, 20 days at the most.
Okay. But you guys don't have an average, on average, throughout all the districts, we get payment in 60 days?
On average, I would say most of them are within the 30 days.
To you or to your vendors?
To our vendors.
Okay. 30 days after you receive payment?
No. 30 days after the delivery of goods.
Okay.
So they're pretty good about paying, as long as there aren't any problems with the order. And if that does come up, again, I encourage you, give us a call, talk to your MSR, they will find out what's going on. Okay?
Sounds good.
The last form is mandatory W-9, and this we need to get you into our accounting system if you're not already registered with us.
Right.
Please fill it out, make sure it's signed, and scan it and upload it into with the rest of the documents. Okay?
Okay.
That's pretty much it. Those are all the documents that are required. This does close on September 18th. So please don't wait till the last minute. If there are problems, give us a call. We'll walk you through it. Rebecca's excellent. She's the pro at Ion Wave.
Yes, did you want to run through how to actually upload the documents?
Sure, if you can help me with that.
Sure. You can know.
Okay, once all your documents are submitted, you want to go to...
So there's two sections. Once you have all your documents ready to be uploaded into the system, you want to go to the Response Attachments tab. and this is where you're going to upload each tab. So it's just like attaching a file to an email. You click the new button, a pop-up will come up, you browse to wherever you have your files, you can put in a description, and then you hit save, and then it'll populate it down on the bottom. So you should have, the 6 tabs there listed. Once you're good with that, you can click over to the response submission. And this is where you're actually going to submit the response. There's 2 little asterisks down on the bottom for your full name and your email address. So you'll type those in, and then you'll hit submit response, and that will actually get submitted. If you do it early and Joe issues an addendum, he has the option to retract any of the submitted responses so that you can put the addendum in tab 1, the signed addendum, the acknowledgement. I've had issues where some people have called me saying, there is no new button under the response attachments tab. You want to make sure that your response is not submitted. If it is submitted, some people accidentally submit it. There's a retract button on your end as well. So you can retract that and then go back to the response attachments, and that new button should be available. So, when you got everything ready and you have no idea what you're doing, just give us a call and we'll walk you through the process. It's pretty easy.
Any questions?
No, you guys have answered all of my questions.
Okay. And if you do have questions, please submit them to me in writing. That way I can distribute your question to everyone and the answer also to everyone that's.
Okay.
Okay. I thank you for coming out this morning, and I thank you for your interest in being a CES vendor.
Thank you for answering all my questions, and we'll get it all together and see what we can do.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Thank you, Mike.
Uh-huh.
Where is it? Yeah.
So just so you know, you could move this around since it was in the way, but I didn't want to interrupt you. So, we'll do stop recording.